$300 million prisoner. The Jon Rahm story nobody is telling you. He has $300 million. He has won twice this season, and he just told the world on camera that he cannot escape. Stop what you are doing, because what I am about to show you is not a rumor. It is not speculation from some anonymous source inside a golf locker room. What I am about to show you is a man, one of the greatest golfers alive, sitting at a press conference, surrounded by journalists and publicly admitting that he is trapped. The man is Jon Rahm. The contract is $300 million. And the league holding that contract is, right now, as you watch this video, running out of money. Welcome to Analysis PGA. I am going to walk you through exactly what happened, exactly what Rahm said, and exactly what it means for his career going forward. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you will understand the situation better than most people who cover golf for a living. But before we get into the numbers, before we get into what Rahm actually said word for word at that press conference, I need to give you one piece of context first, because without it, nothing else lands the way it should. Stay with me. Who Rahm is right now. Let me paint you a picture of Jon Rahm in 2026. On the golf course, the man is on fire. He is the captain of Legion 3 on LIV Golf. He leads the individual standings in 2026. He has won twice. He has finished runner-up 3 times. In 6 events this season, he has been the most consistently excellent player on the entire circuit. By every on-course metric, Jon Rahm is doing exactly what a $300 million player is supposed to do. Now here's the part that makes everything complicated. Off the course, the league he is playing in, the league that is paying that $300 million, the league he is anchored with his name and his results, that league is quietly, desperately, urgently trying to survive, and Rahm is locked inside it. Let me give you the numbers, because the numbers tell the story better than anything else. The Saudi Public Investment Fund, the money behind LIV Golf since day one, has confirmed it is pulling its financial support after the 2026 season. $5.3 billion invested since 2022. Gone after this year. LIV Golf hired an investment bank called to say partners to go find new money. As of right now, no new investor has been announced. Bryson DeChambeau, the biggest individual draw the circuit has not signed for next season. Not even a hint of a deal. The CEO of LIV Golf sent a letter to staff describing the season as full throttle. But privately inside the organization, the word being used is survival. And sitting in the middle of all of this, winning tournaments, leading standings, doing everything right, is Jon Rahm, locked in through 2028, maybe 2029. The contract details are not entirely clear, which is actually important, and I will get back to that. But first, I need to play you what Rahm actually said, because this is the moment everything changed. At the LIV Golf Virginia event, a reporter asked Jon Rahm a simple question. Could he walk away from his contract if the situation became untenable? His answer is now one of the most quoted lines in professional golf this year. He said, and I am paraphrasing his own words here, he has no idea. He cannot say. He has very few talents in life, and reading a contract or understanding business are not 2 of them. And then he said the sentence that changed everything. He said he is pretty sure they did a pretty good job when they drafted that contract, so he does not see many ways out. Read that again. Slowly. The man being paid $300 million just publicly admitted, on the record, in front of journalists, that the people who wrote his contract made sure he could not leave. He is not hinting at exit clauses. He is not suggesting quiet negotiations are happening. He is saying, straight to camera, that the contract was designed to trap him, and it is working exactly as designed. That is not spin. That is not analysis. That is Jon Rahm's own words. And we are just getting started. The money nobody is talking about. Now here is where it gets genuinely fascinating. And this is the part that most golf coverage is completely skipping over. The $300 million is what LIV agreed to pay Rahm just to be in the league. That is his guarantee, his signing bonus structure, his baseline. That does not count what he has earned on the course. Since joining LIV, Rahm has made $93 million in on-course prize money across 2+ seasons. He has made another $16 million in on-course earnings in 2026 alone. When you add up his total career on-course earnings across his entire professional life, PGA Tour included, the number now exceeds $180 million. You know what Tiger Woods' all-time PGA Tour earnings record is? $121 million. Jon Rahm has already passed Tiger Woods' all-time PGA Tour earnings record. In total career money, Rahm is already one of the wealthiest active golfers in the history of the sport, and he still cannot buy himself out of this contract. Sit with that. A man who has earned more on-course money than Tiger Woods ever did on the PGA Tour cannot afford to walk away from the deal he signed. That tells you something about how LIV Golf constructs these contracts. They are not just paying players. They are purchasing them. The money is a lock. The bigger the number, the stronger the cage. And I want to be very clear. I am not saying this to criticize Rahm personally. What I am saying is that this is a masterclass in how you use a financial instrument to control one of the most talented athletes in a sport. You pay a number so large that no buyout is realistic. You draft the language tightly enough that no exit is available. And then you wait. Now, here's a question that nobody has answered yet. And this is the one I want you to think about, because I'm going to come back to it at the end of this video. What happens to Rahm's $300 million guarantee if LIV Golf cannot find new funding? Stay with me on this, because the answer to that question has three completely different outcomes for Jon Rahm's career, and only one of them is actually good for him. I am going to walk you through all three, but first, if you're watching this and you follow golf seriously, hit subscribe right now. We are Rick Analysis PGA, and we cover the real story behind professional golf every single week. We are pushing toward 1,000 subscribers, and every person who joins gets every future breakdown the moment it drops. The subscribe button is right there. Do it now and come back. Okay, the three scenarios. Three futures. Scenario 1. LIV Golf collapses entirely after 2026. If the Saudi money stops, if no new investor steps in, if the circuit cannot sustain itself past December, the contract obligation disappears with it. There is no league to enforce the terms. Rahm is free. What does he do then? He would attempt to return to the PGA Tour. But here is the catch. The returning member program is currently closed. There is no automatic pathway back. It would require negotiation. It would require cooperation from tour leadership. And it would happen at a moment when Rahm's world ranking, which depends on points from recognized events, has already eroded significantly from where it was when he left. He was ranked third in the world when he signed with LIV in December 2023. That number is not where it was. A return is possible, but it is not easy. Scenario 2. LIV finds new private equity and continues, but in reduced form. This is actually the most likely scenario based on current reporting. Smaller purses, smaller audience, fewer events, a league that survives but is diminished. In this scenario, Rahm is still bound to compete. He is playing for $5 to $10 million purses instead of the $30 million purses on the PGA Tour. His world ranking continues to slide. His leverage in any future negotiation with the PGA Tour drops even further. His major championship opportunities, and this is the part that matters most for his legacy, remain limited to the 4 majors per year. The Masters, the U.S. Open, the Open Championship, the PGA Championship. For events, for chances per year to stay relevant at the absolute highest level of the sport. Scenario 3. LIV and the PGA Tour reach some kind of structural agreement. This has been discussed, negotiated, paused, and speculated about for 3 years. A framework deal, a merger, some unified structure that brings the circuits together. If that happens, Rahm's situation changes completely. He could potentially compete in both ecosystems. But there is no deal. There is no timeline for a deal. And every month that passes without one is another month that Rahm's ranking drops and his leverage weakens. 3 scenarios. And in 2 of the 3, Rahm's career trajectory bends downward for the next 2 to 3 years. That is the reality he is living inside. The press conference moment. Now I want to go back to the press conference, because there is more there than just the contract quote. The fried egg one of the sharpest golf publications covering the sport right now, ran a piece during the PGA Championship week that described Rahm's body language when the LIV subject came up. Their word was visibly deflated. They described him not as an employee, but as a man serving out a sentence. They noted that he paused for several seconds when asked what he had learned from his decision to join LIV, and then he gave a small smile and said, "That is for me to know." That pause, that smile, that non-answer, those three things together tell you more than any quote could. He was also asked directly whether a strong performance at the PGA Championship might benefit LIV Golf as the circuit scrambles for emergency funding. His answer was completely direct. He said he is thinking about himself. He said he is not going to take on anything outside what he can control when it comes to competing. The man being paid $300 million to represent a league just told reporters he is not thinking about that league's survival. He is thinking about himself. That is not disloyalty. That is a man in survival mode, doing the only thing still within his control, competing, and trying not to drown in everything else. I want to ask you something genuinely. When you think about what it would feel like to be Jon Rahm right now, you're one of the best golfers alive. You are winning. You are leading the standings, and none of it is translating to the thing that actually defines careers in this sport, major championships, because the circuit you are on has no leverage and dwindling relevance. You signed a contract that made you one of the wealthiest athletes in golf history, and it is the very thing preventing you from competing for the legacy you could have had. There is a word for that, and I will give you a hint. It is not freedom. Keep watching, because the final piece of the story, what Golf Digest said, what happened with the DP World Tour, and what the real math looks like on Rahm's majors record since he signed, that is where this gets truly uncomfortable. The legacy damage. Let me give you Golf Digest's assessment of Rahm's situation, because it was the most honest published piece anywhere this week. They wrote that he denied interest in LIV repeatedly and on the record, and then took the money anyway, that he picked a fight with the DP World Tour despite the circuit making genuine concessions to preserve his Ryder Cup eligibility, that the quarrel served no strategic purpose and revealed something smaller than his talent. That last line is a brutal sentence to read about a man of Rahm's ability. Now, there is one thing he did get right this week. He resolved the DP World Tour dispute. He paid outstanding fines. He agreed to play in 5 additional DP World Tour events during the remainder of 2026. That restores his Ryder Cup eligibility for the 2027 matches at Otterham Manor in Ireland. That is a genuinely important outcome for him. The Ryder Cup matters for legacy. He did that much right. But here is the number I want to leave you with, and this one will stay with you. When Rahm signed with LIV in December 2023, he was ranked 3rd in the world. He had just won the Masters. He had 8 career top 5 finishes in major championships. Golf Digest described him as being on an all-time trajectory, a man who could realistically challenge the greatest major hauls in the sport's history. His contract with LIV exceeded Phil Mickelson's previous record deal of $200 million. It included shares in the circuit, access to a Saudi royal family private jet, 10 personal assistants providing round-the-clock support for him and his family. Since signing, across more than 2 seasons on LIV, his total earnings in major championships is approximately $2 million. That is not a typo. $2 million in the events that define careers. In the same period, Rory McIlroy has won 2 Masters championships. 2. Where this goes next. Rahm goes to the U.S. Open at Shinnecock Hills next month. He will be asked the same questions there. The contract questions, the exit questions, the what did you learn from these questions. And his answer is already written. He does not see many ways out. He is not really thinking about it. He has very few talents in life, and reading a contract is not one of them. The league is scrambling for investors. The Saudi money ends after December. DeChambeau has not re-signed. The CEO is writing letters to staff about full throttle seasons, while the circuit's future is genuinely uncertain. And Rahm is locked in, winning tournaments that fewer and fewer people are watching, earning money that even he admits cannot free him, waiting for something completely outside his control to change the situation. $300 million, the most expensive cage in the history of professional golf. Now here is what I want you to think about after this video ends. The U.S. Open is next month. Rahm will be there, if he contends, if he puts himself in position on Sunday at Shinnecock Hills. The entire conversation around LIV Golf, around his contract, around his legacy, changes overnight. One major changes everything. And that is the cruel irony of this whole situation. The one thing that could save Jon Rahm's legacy is still available to him. 4 times a year. The door is open, whether the league around him survives long enough for him to walk through it. That is the part nobody knows yet. I will be covering the U.S. Open build-up and every major LIV development as it breaks, right here on Analysis PGA. If this video gave you something you could not find anywhere else, subscribe right now. We are a small channel genuinely working toward 1,000 subscribers, and every single person who joins gets every future breakdown the moment it goes live. Hit subscribe, and I will see you at Shinnecock Hills.